All right, Senator, we're going to start on topic for what we're here for today. Tell us a little bit about the forum today, what we're here discussing.
Well, this coalition is joined together to talk about all the good that is done by foreign aid programs, by State Department programs. As we know, President Trump has come out and said he wants to cut these programs by 30%. That's unacceptable. It would be a disaster, and it creates a more unstable world, and it hurts the United States standing in the world. So we're going to do everything we can working with this coalition to make sure there's an adequate budget.
I want to pivot quickly. You mentioned President Trump there. Let's kind of focus on another story today. The president did come out today and condemn kind of the white nationalism that we saw in Charlottesville on Friday. Took 3 days. What's your response to that?
Yeah, well, it took way too long. And I just to start, I can't condemn in more strong terms what happened there. I mean, we as moral leaders, you should step up to the plate and you should say Nazis, KKK, white supremacists, they don't belong doing that. They need to be condemned. The violence and hatred is unacceptable, and we need to do everything we can as a country to pull together in these kinds of situations. And so I know that President Trump made an earlier statement. It was very controversial. It wasn't the kind of statement you would expect from the presidency, from a moral leader for this country, to just stand up, call them out, tell them to cut it out.
And then the president didn't do that until essentially today. Is it particularly concerning to you that it took 3 days essentially for the president to respond to Nazism?
It's very concerning to me, because as a moral leader, if you don't step into the vacuum, you grow more violence, I think, and that's what's happened here, is these groups get empowered by that. And people have pointed out to me over and over again, these were Trump slogans, Trump signs that were involved in this rally. And so he either disassociates himself from it or he's a part of it.
Well, and I think you're kind of getting to my next point there. You know, throughout the campaign, there were arguments that his rhetoric kind of led to this. It essentially emboldened these people who maybe felt the need to hide it before. Would you agree with that?
Well, I believe that the person who said it the strongest, the elected leader there on the ground in Charlottesville, he said, the leader in Charlottesville said, President Trump empowered this. He allowed this to happen by his actions. He should step out and in the strongest terms, be against this.
Sure. And there are reports coming out just in the last few minutes that there's another rally planned a lot closer to here in western Texas. Is that something that worries you?
Well, it worries me, and the thing that we need to try to do as a country is pull together, not have violent situations, not engage in the hatred and the bigotry. And as leaders, you have to stand up and speak out against us, speak out against it regardless of the consequences.
Were you surprised that it took him so long to respond?
I'm very surprised. I thought that this would be a situation he would step into, he would be strong, he would be moral, and he would just declare it absolutely unacceptable.
Senator, can I switch to North Korea?
Are you done? Are you okay?
We'll hang out
Do you want me to keep looking at? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned in your talk today that cool heads have to prevail in
Right.
terms of the North Korean situation. With the president's tweets and his statements of the past week, what is your assessment of what he has said and done?
Well, he on the North Korea situation, he has escalated it. He had the wonderful opportunity when the entire world, including China and Russia, stepped in and imposed sanctions and said, this is unacceptable what you're doing. And on top of that, what was said is we should immediately begin six-nation discussion. So instead of moving where the resolution was taking us, and Ambassador Haley, who did a good job working with all the countries of the world, he escalated it into a conflict that we don't know where it's going to turn out. I mean, I don't think we should be stumbling into a nuclear war, and I'm very worried about that. I'm worried about a World War III nuclear war. We don't want to be there.
Follow-up, how dangerous of a situation do you believe it is? Meaning, certainly in terms of what North Korea has.
Well, we don't have any doubt with our intelligence community that they have nuclear weapons, and the public has seen on the television these missiles that go up, the tests that are going on. Nobody knows exactly how accurate they're going to be able to be, but this is a very dangerous situation. And I'm always reminded of Teddy Roosevelt in these type of situations where he would say, speak softly and carry a big stick. And the president, that's such wise advice to give, and it's been passed down through the ages. The president does just the opposite. You get an opening where you have a UN resolution where the countries of the world together and they move into a dialogue and try to defuse this, and he does just the opposite with these incendiary tweets.
And do you think it can be diffused through sanctions and diplomacy as opposed to what some people are, preemptive strike?
We're a lot better off trying that first.
Okay. One other thing, the Republican effort to get rid of Obamacare seems to have certainly imploded. There is talk that the situation itself will implode with the higher premiums and things like that. And there's always been talk about trying to fix it amongst Democrats as well. Do you think there can be any progress amongst Republicans and Democrats?
The hopeful thing we're seeing in the Senate is that Patty Murray and Lamar Alexander, the chairman and the vice chairman of the HELP committee, which is involved with health care. The other committee is the Finance Committee, but that committee has committed to move forward with hearings and work on the issue of the individual insurance market. And maybe they're going to work on reinsurance, but they want to stabilize the market. And I think that's a good thing. My heroes are the senators who stood up, John McCain, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, in this situation and say, don't move forward in a totally partisan way, let's all work together. And that was the message they sent. And we've heard that on our side. We did not cheer that vote. We said, good, now we can work together.
You mentioned you mentioned essentially kind of Republican defectors on that bill. There's been a bit of a swell recently in a push for potential grounds for impeachment for the president, with, again, maybe some Republicans moving that way. Is that something that you think you would support at this time?
I don't think we should talk about that. I think what we should allow to happen is there's a special prosecutor. Robert Mueller is experienced. He's had an extensive career in terms of FBI and working in investigations. And we should follow all the leads. I believe he will. Find the evidence and then present it to the House of Representatives. And so it's premature now to be talking like that, I think.
Senator, you have watched presidents all your life, dating, I don't know how many, and I won't bother to guess. But just in terms of this president's behavior, his actions, his temperament, what do you think about that?
I am increasingly of the state of mind that he isn't fit to be president.
Wow. Jeez. Can you explain why?
But and the other side of this is that always the Congress and our system are involved in a whole dance and choreography of checks and balances. And he seems to be trying to overwhelm all the checks and balances. He's attacking the media, he's attacking the Congress, he's attacking anyone who dissents from him. That isn't the way leaders are supposed to behave. I mean, you're supposed to be willing to take hits now and then, but stand up and advocate what you're for. And it's very scary to me. And I don't believe that either of you guys are the enemy of the people.
I bet you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.